All right. Shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom, shalom. It's Michael Israel. We have a good show for you today. And as you could tell by the title, it's a good show. And that title is Action or Actions Demonstrate True Commitment and Priority. Okay. Um, and that's a very a more broken down way of saying, you know, a Bible scripture, faith without works is dead. You will know them by their fruit. You know, the thing I say all the time is watch their footwork. Um, but action shows true um, commitment and it shows priority. Okay. And we're going to just go through some key factors um, in that. Um, because everybody can say they value something, honesty, kindness, hard work. Everybody talks a good game, but um, actions are the real test. And what we have to be as wise, keen observers, um, we have to ask, do their actions consistently align with those stated values? Okay, so is what they say, does that line up with what we see? And you know, the actions will reveal the true motivation. Um, so again, you just have to it's simply learning to watch and to observe, listen to, but you want to observe, because a lot of people will listen and but the observation isn't there. You have to do both to see if there is consistency in what's being said and what's being done. Okay, so true commitment and priority, just truly being in alignment, um, is demonstrated through consistent actions over time. That's why I tell people, man, hey, like one of my new kind of things, hey, we'll see in a year. Like is some, because man, like I said, I see people come, and I mean they talk, they are brilliant orators. They can articulate stuff, and really you can literally feel what they're saying hitting the emotional parts of your brain, and it's trying to convince you that this is who they are. But hey, I gotta watch your actions, and not over a week, not over 3 weeks, not over a month, over a year. Okay, and I mean, or over years. Like, how long does it take a tree to bear fruit? It takes years. So, um, so a tree will tell you, hey, I'm an orange tree, man. I'm telling you, I'm an orange tree. Don't you see my trunk? Don't you see my branches? Doesn't an orange tree have uh a trunk and branches and stuff? And they'd be telling you, yeah, I am, man. I'm an orange tree. This, that. Well, okay. Well, let's just wait and see what type of fruit you produce, so we know for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. 4 years later, you find out they're not an orange tree. They're producing some other type of fruit. So our actions, so that your actions are gonna say a lot. Not only are they gonna say whether you are what you say they are, they're also gonna tell what you really are if you don't line up with what you claim to be. They're also gonna, if you're a keen observer, they're also gonna tell exactly what you really are. So actions provide a more reliable indicator of our true character, values, and priorities that simply stating our intentions don't. Okay? Why do people tend to get caught up in what people are saying? Um, the the quickest answer to that is uh, it's easier. It's more out front. Um, let's get into that real quick. Give me a sec. Okay. So on the surface, it seems to it's easier to assess. Hey, people are telling you this. Oh, okay. You know, talk is often more reliable. Excuse me. Talk often seems more reliable and easier to understand than observing people's actions and behavior. So on the surface, it seems more reliable, um, and just easier than to just be patient, take time, and watch their footwork. I can't tell you the number of people who have come in to our assembly here, and they're telling me this, and they're wanting to move forward with that, and they're bringing all this stuff, and I tell them, hey, I'm like, that's cool, no sweat, but we're gonna just take your time, man. I gotta. You need to know who who I am, and I need to know who you are. But just take your time. And look, I've seen a myriad of things um, occur from that. I've seen a lot of people when I say that, and they see that I'm a wait and I'm gonna assess their action and their behavior. When they see that, I've seen so many people just go. They just leave because they know they're like, hey, he's not gonna take me on my word for my word. You know, I can talk a good game, and I know what I say comes across perfect. But he's not gonna take that. He wants to watch my actions, and they feel some type of way, and the next thing you know, you don't hear from him anymore. And guess what? That was a wolf. That person was trying to deceive, and they're like, "Hey, he's on to me." Then I see some people who they hang around, and they'll keep talking, they'll keep trying to convince, and I will call them directly out on it. I'll say, "Hey, you know what? You talk a good game, but your actions will tell." And I'm not moving until I see your footwork. You see what I'm saying? That's how I move. And then eventually that type of person will be gone and leave because they and some of these people have convinced themselves that they're not who their actions say they are. I've seen it, man. They have deceived themselves in believing their own BS. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's see. So see those types. Then I've seen the type that have come in. They've come into this what we're doing, and they don't say not talking, they're not trying to convince, they just rocking with it. And those have been the people who have, you know, been profitable, produced fruit. Those are the fruit trees that yield large amounts of fruit. Okay. Um, so so those are the types I've seen. And like I said, the reason why people get misled by clever speech is because they don't, they're not, it's almost out of a type of laziness and ignorance where, hey, it's easier to just go along with what they're saying and, you know, and then they find out down the road the hard way, the painful way that, hey, what did I miss? You'll hear people say, man, what did I miss? Um, in relationships, let's go a step further. Go a little deeper in relationships. When I say in relationships, I'm talking about male female relationships. Um, the reason why a lot of people make mistakes getting in relationships is because relationships add an additional component to this formula that makes it um, kind of, it makes it more lethal, and that would be the high emotional component gets added in when you get into relationships. And yeah, so when you get into relationships, a lot of people don't scrutinize people's actions before they let their emotions fall into the situation. And once the emotions come in, they blind or they obscure your vision and your sight and your senses to discern people's actions. So when you add that component in, that's where you get a lot of people where, you listen to their war story about how they went through some type of relationship and they were like, what was I thinking, man? Why didn't I see that? Well, not only did you find it easier to assess who people were through what they're saying, you're also blinded by your emotions. Okay. So here we talk about this. Another reason why people find it easier to just assess what people are saying is it's simpler to just listen to someone's promises and opinions than to meticulously track their behavior. So it goes right back to that. Just people have been conditioned to just go along with what people say. So, and that would be social pressure and expectations. Societal norms often prioritize verbal commitments and expressions of intent. There can be pressure to conform to these expectations, even if actions don't always follow. Now, check this out. This this is what people do sometimes. They will pressure you to, hey, I just told you I'm good on it. I just told you that, man. And then you tell them, hey, look, I get what you're saying, but I'm about action. Oh man, come on, man. I'm telling dude, that right there, it should be a massive red flag. And what I do in those situations is break rapport. I look, I'll be that, I'll be him. I'll be that. So people come like that, be like, hey, look, I don't care, man. You could try to tell me whatever you want. I'm only about action. Period. So, you know, you, I've told people, hey, you give me a year, Let's give it a year, and maybe we could revisit. You heard what I said? Maybe we could revisit this conversation. Now, if this is a person who is confident and they know that their actions is on point and incongruent and in alignment with what they're saying, they're gonna be like, man, that's perfect. They're gonna actually like that. They're gonna admire that. But if this is a person who is full of it, who has, whether consciously or unconsciously, they have malicious intent, they're operating in unrighteousness, they can be like, oh man, whatever. And you ain't gonna see them no more. And hallelujah, you just filtered out. You just saved yourself some pain, some heartache, and some pain. Um, uh, sometimes, and this is how manipulators are, you know, they will play to, and again, now this, I've seen this play out in relationships where people will try to get in relationships, male, female relationships, whatever, where emotions are involved. They're going to try, that people will try to play towards your existing beliefs or what they know you want it to become. They will try to play to that. And you gotta, you really gotta be that. I did a video a while back talking about relationships, how they're weapons of mass destruction. Okay, used properly, it can be a valuable weapon where you come together. Um, um, Man and woman come together, and they can be a weapon, like I described. Um, Marriage is the building block of a nation. Okay. Um, you think two people can come together and within like a 20-year period or whatever, multiply, you know, um, and become way more than the sum of the two parts. You could have 10 children or whatever. You could take on a second wife, 20 children, maybe, you know, on a high side, but easily 16 children, something like that. Okay. So it's huge. It's a weapon of massive destruction. You can raise up a nation in one generation and overtake a nation with no weapons. You know what I'm saying? With no conventional weapons, you could say, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? You just literally outpopulate them. So, I mean, we could really unpack that, but I don't want to get off topic, but relationships can be weapons of mass destruction, but it can also implode and can destroy you too if you get in a relationship with the wrong person. So if you lack the ability to observe and to be patient and to regulate and control your emotions, you're gonna have problems. You have to observe people's actions because it's gonna tell you where their commitment's at and where their priorities are. Um, so lack. Here's another reason why people will skip observing people's actions. Check this out. We may not always have the opportunity or resources to observe someone's actions consistently. The lack of first-hand experience can make it easier to rely on their words as a primary source of information. If you can't observe their actions and their footwork, leave it alone. Be done with it. It's a bad deal. And what people try to do because they know you like that, and if they what they'll try to do is make it more enticing with their speech. to convince you to do otherwise. And it's why you see people, they'll have, they get involved with people that produce bad fruit. They'll get involved with people that are uh, energy leeches, that pull them down, that suck the energy out of them, that are constantly a burden in their life. Yeah, the social norms and rapport, you gotta, people play on that. On, oh, this is the so, you gotta be all the social norms and niceties and rapport. People play on that. And what you have to do is you have to be willing to break rapport, to call it up like, hey man, look, straight up. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Deception and manipulation. Skilled communicators can use language to create an impression of trustworthiness and commitment. You hear me? Did y'all hear that? Skilled communicators can use language to create an impression of trustworthiness and commitment, even if their actions contradict their words. And what I do, listen, what that's describing there is evil, straight up. And when you've been through enough SHIT in your life, okay, when you've been through enough stuff, when you learn to value your peace, when you learn to value your the peace that you have in the Most High and being righteous, and somebody unrighteous comes along like that, you learn how to make their life very uncomfortable when they're operating in that fashion, in that condition. Skilled, I'm gonna read it again because this is, man, this is so important. Skilled communicators can use language to create an impression of trustworthiness and commitment, even if their actions contradict their words. Y'all, you gotta only be looking at footwork and action, y'all. That's it. You gotta only be looking at footwork. You got to be about footwork. If y'all, and look, I, people got receipts. People have seen me. There are people on this channel, people who are in the comments sometimes. They have been around me. I'm very highly about footwork and act. You know what I'm saying? Um, very action oriented. And look, skilled communicators that are able to use language and create impressions, they shy away from me because they know they'll get called out on that. And it's just so critical for you in your life that you are able to spot these types of deceptions and manipulations. Okay? Let's see. So check this out. I'm gonna read this. It's important to remember that while words can provide valuable insight, they should always be considered in conjunction with observed action. Consistent action provides a more reliable indicator of true intentions and commitment. Okay? So don't get don't get that, you know, take that, like really marinate on everything that's been said here. With that said, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Michael Israel. Shalom, shalom.